Sometimes a book finds you right about the time the applause fades and the boxes in the garage start to feel heavier than they should. Now, I've got an author I'd like you to meet who believes the real work of a book begins after launch day and who's built a mission around helping writers keep their words alive, visible, and working long after the confetti settles. So stick around because you're not only going to learn more about this book, you're going to learn more about the writing voyage this author took to create it, and you're going to learn a little bit more about this what happens after the books come out world. I'm looking forward to it. You ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the 50th episode of A Book Finds You podcast. This week's guest is Deborah Kevin. Join us as she shares the inspiration behind her book, along with her expertise in book marketing and ways authors can tackle that challenge. And now, here's your host, best-selling author, Rob Jolles.
Today's guest, Deborah Kevin, is the Chief Inspiration Officer at the Baltimore-based Highlander Press, where she helps truth-tellers on a mission to turn lived experience and hard-won insight into books that move readers to feel and act. She's disrupting the publishing industry one book at a time, starting with her new book, her fourth book, Shelf Life. Happy to have you with us and welcome to the show, Deborah.
It's lovely to be here, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And I'm really looking forward to this because we're going to do something different. We're going to get to that book of yours in a minute. But I want to talk about, I love the subject of your book, and I think we just have to spend a few minutes there. So most authors feel like they've done all the heavy lifting. They have been nesting with this book for a year, 2 years, 3 years, sometimes more. And now it's finally on the shelves and they want to go back to sleep. What are they getting wrong about what happens after a book comes out?
Yeah, I was just talking with someone today and I said a lot of authors actually ghost their own books, right?
Oh, yep.
It's such a labor-intensive, emotionally, financially, spiritually, all of it goes poured into the writing, editing, publishing, and then launching a book. And it's natural to want to disappear after that. And I always say to our authors, rest because you should,
Right.
recuperate, and then let's regroup because it's most authors don't even know what to do next.
Right.
Right?
I think that's the key. I think you just hit it right on the head. They don't know what to do next, particularly if they're coming from the self-publishing world or, kind of a leave the author alone indie world. Um, and I will say from being conventionally public, have six out there that are conventionally published, I'm not getting a lot of help there either.
Exactly.
So it really is one of those dirty little secrets that says, once that book comes out, good luck, Charlie. Figure it out. Well, we're going to figure it out here a little bit because the good news is there's people like you who can give us some definitive things to do. So you go first. I'll even swap with you. I'll throw a few thoughts that I have, but you're my guest. I want to hear you go first. Tell me a couple things that an author can do other than, I don't want to fall asleep on a launch party, by the way. I think that could be a show in itself
Yes.
because we really want to do that right. But let's leave the launch party because that was
Yep.
fun and we had hors d'oeuvres and we had our friends there. Now it's
Yep.
the morning after. Give me a couple quick, easy things they could do to market that book.
Well, first of all, I think understanding that marketing isn't a dirty word. A lot of authors, myself included, were introverts, and it feels like I always liken it to being up in New York City in Washington Square Park, where there's that guy that's always walking around in a trench coat and he's trying to sell you fake Rolexes, like, check it out, check it out, check it out. That's not the energy that we want to have when we're sharing our book. We're letting people discover our book. And so I think, knowing where your ideal readers are hanging out, either in real life or online. It's not everywhere. We're not taking spaghetti and throwing it at the wall and just seeing what sticks. We really need to know where our readers are because TikTok is great for some, like YA authors. Fantastic. If you're writing nonfiction, you really need to be over on LinkedIn. And what that is and how to show up and to serve your readers. It's about creating a relationship and not just saying, buy my book.
Yeah. One of the homework assignments I give some of the people that I work with is I tell them, I want you to go to Barnes and Noble and I want you to go find your book. Not necessarily yours, and this is even before the book comes out. Just go find where it would be.
Yes.
Look what's there. Look what they're doing. Because you can pick up some marketing ideas right off the bat. You can even, if the book isn't in print yet, pick up a couple little formatting thoughts or ideas as well. But I think it's nice to start benchmarking and just look who's in your space and what they're up to.
And follow them on social media
Yeah.
and look at what they're doing, interact with them because they're people.
Yeah.
And if you can, I think emulation, not copying, but emulating people who are successful is a really great shortcut.
Yeah.
Look at what other
Yeah.
people are sharing and how they're sharing and how they show up.
Right. I love what you just said, in terms of following them. As a guy who's been podcasting for 7 years now, every day I've got two or three people, in the email box who want to get on. You want to know one of the easiest ways to get on my podcast? Follow it, comment on it, like it. I'm not that complicated of a guy. I can be bought apparently, but truly, when I see somebody comment, it means something to me. The third time they do it, I'm reaching out to them and at least connecting on LinkedIn and getting to know
Absolutely.
them. Now, if we have a topic and an idea that makes sense, of course. Uh, so I'm always surprised at why people won't do that. And one quick thing on top of that while we're on a podcast. When you're on a podcast, if you want to be rebooked on that podcast or maybe some others, don't give lip service to I'll share it and like it and
Yes.
send it out. Really go to work for that podcast or that blog, whatever you've buddied up to. Don't fall asleep just because you got the gig. Keep going.
Absolutely. You hit on something really important. It's about developing that relationship. And I think when we're in relationship with people who are our podcast hosts, for example, making that commitment to each other so that we can both be successful is tremendously important because I scratch your back, you scratch mine, we both win. And I love win-win-win scenarios where everybody gets out better than when they walked in. And
Right.
so, yeah, marketing is really about sharing what you've written,
Yeah.
being proud of it.
Yeah. I think what scares people is they think that that everything is expensive. In other words, if we sat here today and said, let's go over the world of publicists, you can't deny the fact that a good publicist, will be very helpful in the launch of your book. The problem is you're going to need a $20,000 to $30,000 budget for a realistic campaign. So let's not talk about that. Let's
Yeah,
talk about the fact that there are many other ways that aren't high budget. We've just talked about one. We're on a podcast together right now.
absolutely.
There are, listennotes.com will show you the genre. It'll also show you the success of the show. And
Yes,
but get your voice out there. There's so many inexpensive ways to do this. Some of them are fun. I think this is fun. But
absolutely.
yeah, get out there and fight. I look at it like my children. My books are my kids. We do the
Yes.
best we can to raise them. They're not all, not everybody comes out of the house exactly looking the same, but we're doing our best. And then we launch them into the world and we pay attention to them, but we realize they're out now. We've worked hard to raise this book. Let's do
Yeah.
all we can to give it the best chance of having a successful life.
I love that because I will say your books are like your children
Yeah.
and no one will love them as much as you do.
Yeah. It's
And
true. Maybe
and
your
it doesn't
mother,
matter
but
whether it doesn't matter whether you're traditionally published, whether you've independently published or you've gone the hybrid, it doesn't matter.
right.
You can have
Right.
the best business partner. And the top three ways that people discover new books isn't through publicists. It's not through the news. It's not through paid advertising. It's friends and family and authors that they already know.
Isn't that interesting that how many conversations end up with the word networking? At the end of the day, I've
Yes.
worked 16 years with people who are in career transition. 85% of those jobs are going to people with network connections. Even the publishing side, if we want to go conventional, oh, you can't get at that publisher without an agent. And by the way, good luck on finding that agent. But what people don't say is, oh, yes, you absolutely can go to a major publisher. You just have to have a network connection because editors
Yes.
aren't foolish. If they have an author that they like who says, I want you to, I've got a manuscript, they want to see it.
Yeah.
So it's network connection again.
It's all networking is one of the most overlooked ways for people to connect with one another. And think about, the Maryland Writers Association. Go to a meeting. Go to the annual convention.
Right.
Show up,
Yeah.
talk with each other, get to know people.
Right.
And and here's the thing about networking. Networking isn't what can you do for me? It's how can I serve you? How can I help you get what you want? What are you looking for? What kind of books do you write? How do you market them? Where's your big struggle? How can I connect you with somebody? It's all about like twisting that what's in it for me as opposed to how can I serve you?
Right. And you're also doing a nice job of teaching a communication class right now, because as a guy who's half my books are sales books, by the way, uh, you can't believe how many people have heard we really are in much better shape when we're asking questions and listening, and how few people actually pull that off. So you really have to be kind of consciously competent. You have to really think about it because our instinct, particularly when we're a little bit anxious, is to start talking. And
Yeah.
if we start listening, we get into some of these situations. You mentioned Maryland Writers Association, perfect example. You go to those meetings, listen, ask
Yeah.
questions and listen, which you'll whoever you're talking to and communicating with will be more impressed with the conversation when you are. The more other people talk, generally, the more they like us. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's shh, don't tell anyone, but it is quite simple. It's just instinct versus logic. What you're saying
Yeah.
is very logical. It's not instinctive, which is why we're having the conversation. I want to shift a little bit, and I'm selfishly, but I this happens to me every time. And when I talk to authors, I've found some friends here. I'm a guy who's very happy. I'm happy 363 days a year. I really am a genuinely happy guy. My only sad day, a difficult day, is when a book comes out, one of my books come out, because there's such a ramp up. So exciting. It's coming out in 3 weeks, for 2 weeks, for one week.
Uh,
It's here. And now it's the day after it's here. And I think that there's almost a sort of a post-launch letdown that goes on.
Absolutely. I
How do we
call it
get
a
through that?
visibility hangover. I call it a visibility hangover.
Yeah, I guess step one is just be aware it's coming. I didn't know the first time. I kept thinking, what's wrong? I'm supposed to be very excited. Why am I not excited? I've been excited for 2 years. Now I'm not excited, but there's that letdown. So I
Yeah.
think, being warned may help a little bit. I guess other than that, just turn that energy back into marketing, right?
Well, and take a break. Like, understand,
There
like, you
you
just
go.
hit it on the head. Like, you're
Yeah.
doing all those things, 2 years, you're editing, you're writing, you're thinking about it. It's very top of mind. It's very natural to be exhausted after all of that. A launch day in and of itself, whether you're doing it in real life or you're doing a virtual or a combination of the two, it's exhausting.
Yeah. It
And
is.
just know that and plan for it.
Yeah. Boy, I like took a deep breath when you said it. It is exhausting. I'm exhausted hearing about it. No, it is. The good news is it's stretched out over a fairly long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
True.
when you're done with one part, you move into another. When you're done with that, you move into copyediting,
Yeah.
wherever we are. So at least it's over a long period of time. But
Right.
yeah, it is. It can get a little bit tough, but this isn't to scare people off. Maybe
No.
we can reverse engineer this
Yeah.
conversation to remind people that I think the heavy lifting is getting, 40 to 60,000 words down on a document. And
Just a
notice I
first
said
draft.
40,000 because
Yeah.
most of the publishers I know are saying, yeah, we're not looking for these big 250, 300-page books
Mm,
anymore. So,
yeah.
so good news, everybody. You already got a head start. Okay.
Well, and I think it's something like 93%, and I read this in Publishers Weekly several years ago, so it could be a different statistic. Books that are 150 pages or fewer, 93% of them will be read cover to cover. And so shorter books are actually going to have a bigger impact because people will finish them.
Wow. I see. I didn't know that. But I do like the fact that I always want to remind this audience focus on word count, not pages, because I already played that game when I was in school. You got double lining here and
Yes.
14-inch font, and there's all kinds of ways to deceive a document. Word counts don't lie. That
Yes.
will really give you a barometer and a measurement to where you're at. Let's talk about your book. By golly, by
Sure.
gosh, this show is called A Book Finds You. I'm pretty sure I've got half the answer already, but how did this particular book find you? I mean, I know you were thinking about it. What made you say, I'm writing it?
Well, it's interesting. I graduated from Western Colorado University's Graduate School of Creative Writing with a master's degree in publishing, and I went back. They had every year they have a in-person 1 week period of time. The word is escaping me. Um, it's not a retreat, but they actually invited alumni to come back, and we had our own scheduling. And one of the things that they said is, "Do you want to do a craft class?" And everyone was talking about, genre fiction or how to, create lively characters. And I'm like, nobody is talking about the marketing piece of things. And so I did a craft class called Shelf Life, and it it was an hour-long class, and I had the director come up to me and say, nobody's talking about this. This is phenomenal. You've got to do something with this. And so it was like, you know, it needs to be a book. And so I took what I did in the class and I expanded it and give templates and all the things because it your book can have a long shelf life, but you actually have to take action and do it and not do it all at once, but it's like juggling. Do one thing, do it really well, and then add the next thing
Yeah.
and
You
have
know,
fun.
to your point, and I've never talked about this on this show because I was thinking, I don't know Maryland Writers Association, but I think we work together. The Writer Center in Bethesda and the Maryland Writers Association are not exactly in competition with each other. And
Exactly.
I have for probably 5 years been teaching a book marketing program there. It took me 2 years to get students into it. Remember, these are people who are writing books. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, one thing I changed, welcome to marketing, which was I went from, book marketing to book marketing on a budget.
sure.
Boom. That changed things. And now, but I've always been surprised at it with no other course at the Writer Center. Where is everybody on this? We
Yeah.
can't, we're agreeing here. I'm so glad you've written a book on it. We can't fall asleep just because we wrote the book. And the good news is that you'll enjoy this marketing part of it. It gets momentum too.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the simple thing, I actually gave a shelf life presentation in October's Maryland Writers Association. I gave this a different version of it. And I asked, I think the room was packed. And I had everyone, I said, how many of you have an email list that's devoted to your author business? I had three people there were at least 40 people in the room. Three raised their hands. And I'm like,
Mm.
your homework you can sign up for a free MailChimp account because then you can nurture your readers. You can plug it into your website. Your website should not be complex. Make things easy. Don't overthink it. It shouldn't be expensive.
I agree
I'm
with you.
all for leveraging the easy things.
Yeah. I actually, let me build on that a little bit. One of the things, and this may be, this is I'm putting a couple steroids into this, but I do sometimes we've got people they're building a website, trying to get some traffic there, wanting to keep a mailing list. but there's nothing in it for the reader to sign up for. In other words, well, what would be in it for me to give up my email address? And that's
Yeah,
where lead magnets come in, right? And that's where,
absolutely.
and sometimes it can just be the chapter that didn't make the book, something special that
Yeah.
I'm rewarding you for being my reader. Let me show you something nobody else gets to see. And it doesn't have to be extensive. It could be a poem you left out, but it's
Yes.
special. It will start increasing that mailing list, and add a little flavor to the website, by the
Yes.
way.
Yeah. Well, and one of my favorites is flat swag. Stuff we all get. You can design and create a bookmark. Who doesn't need a bookmark?
Right,
Right? I'm always looking for one and I can't find one. I have millions of them.
right.
You can do a book plate where you do an autograph. You give me your mailing address. I'll send you an autographed book plate to stick in the book.
Yep,
You can write a
yep.
thank you note, handwritten note. Ask me anything.
Right.
You know, there's
Yeah.
so many different ways, cool ways to connect with your readers.
Yeah, I wish people would pay a little more attention to swag. I got a bag over here. I'm not we're on a podcast, so it does me no good to show it to you. But one of the I remember I did a book signing some years ago for a book of mine about being a road warrior. I don't like talking about my books on the show, so you don't get a title. But I will tell you there were two of us and at the book signing, and the other guy was a nice guy, interesting book. It couldn't maybe one person every 10 minutes. I had a line, it was about 15 people long. Guess why? Had nothing to do with how great a writer I was. I had swag.
You would
I had a
swag.
little for $1.
Yeah.
I had these little travel bags that had the title of the book on there. It's for road warriors. Here's a little bag for you. Just
Yeah.
a little snap together. It cost me a buck a bag. And not only, and I sold, 40 books that night.
Right.
Not a ton, but Barnes and Noble was happy, and so, but I love the swag. I think we can do better than bookmarks, by the way.
Well,
Uh,
there's so many. Flat
yeah,
swag is it costs a stamp and an envelope,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You don't have to have boxes of things.
right,
Like I would never give a pen, for example. That's
right,
my least favorite swag because I'm very, and you as a writer, you probably are too, very particular about my pens. And
right.
when something, I don't like clicky pens, they're noisy, and when they don't work, they get thrown away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will. I'm going to show you, and now I'll describe it to the audience. This is my best piece of swag. Now these only come out for seminars, but it's now rising. What's happening here? A little Rob. I call it a
That is
robblehead.
awesome.
Yes, I call it a robblehead. Actually, my wife has been drawing beards on them lately. But I will tell you that when you speak on behalf of your book and you have a nice crowd there, and you see somebody else give away a pen and a little robblehead or whatever you want to call it comes out, I can assure you that that audience will remember that presentation in you. So
Absolutely.
I do think I love that we got into this because I thought I'm the only one who really pays attention to this, but always my entire career. Very interested in the swag because when we speak or when we have a group, we want to make it fun. I mean,
Yes.
that's the whole idea. So let's do something fun. And
Yeah.
there's tons of it out there, and it's not very expensive.
No. And it can be nice. And the other thing too is if you have a table, like you're at Barnes and Noble, bring a vase and throw some flowers in it. Just right there, get a tablecloth.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I'll tell you a mistake I made. Here's one that not to do. I went to something around my neighborhood, had a book, something or other, and I went, oh, show these people. Hey, big damn authors. Where do they meet Rob? So I brought the whole family with me, and I'm talking the family of books. Okay. And you should have seen my table. It looked like a garage sale, which is the problem because it looked like a garage sale. It's like an art gallery. You can't, it's tempting. You want to put a piece of art all over the place
right.
and it takes away from the art you really want seen. So take it from Rob and his many mistakes. One thing I learned is when you get to those tables, love your idea. How about a nice little flower? How about one book leaning here, two sitting there that we can sign? Some are going to be underneath. Let's keep it nice and open and
Yes.
free because I think
Yes.
the temptation is to fill it up. And I learned the hard way. Don't do that.
Yeah, and have a bowl of candy like peppermints that are
Mhm.
sealed, or something that pe draws people to your table,
Yeah.
and talk with them. You could also do a giveaway where they drop a card in with their name and their mailing address, and they win something from you.
Are some of these ideas in your book?
Absolutely.
There you go. Good. So everything we've talked about so far
Yeah.
has been in. Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Well, because I'm sitting here thinking, boy, I hope it's in the book because I want people taking notes or going to get the book. All right. What's the book's name again?
It's called Shelf Life,
Okay.
a
And it's
field
sitting right
guide.
there
Yeah.
on Amazon right now if I want to go get it. Uh,
Amazon or myfavoritebookshop.org, which
okay.
benefits, for me, Snug Books in Baltimore City, which is a
Oh, there you
woman-owned,
go. We got it. We got a
independent
Baltimore
bookstore.
well, sort of a Baltimore person here. uh, Yeah, no, but and also, let's model a couple of things. So we're talking about marketing ideas. We're talking about, various ideas to move a book. Let's not forget that we're talking to an audience of authors. So when you hear me have a conversation with Deborah and you hear me say, "Oh, there's that book on Amazon. Let's go get one." Don't just go get a book. Think about somebody getting your book. What would you want them to do? Of course, write a review. So
Yes.
let's not just buy the book. Let's write the review. You don't have Deborah. I'm looking at her. She doesn't walk on water. She two sentences. Really love the book. Nothing fancy, and that's what we're looking for. So don't be intimidated by. You're not intimidated by writing a book. Don't be intimidated by writing a review. But we should do a course on just how to write an Amazon review.
Yes. And how to ask people for reviews.
Ah, so how do you ask something? Look, I think
Yeah.
I
So,
smell a part of the book. How do we
you
ask
do.
somebody?
Because, so I'll just say I had somebody come up to me randomly at an event, and they're like, "Oh, I read your book. It was so helpful. It's dog-eared. It's blah blah blah." And I'm like, pause first of all, and take it in, and appreciate that they came up to you and said something, and then say, "Well, would you mind if I wrote down what you said and send it to you so you can? It would be really helpful for me if you took. I'll just write down your words and mail it to you, because oftentimes, we're talking to authors, but a lot of people are very intimidated to write something for an author. And
Right.
so I can take real quick note. I always have a notepad in my purse, or I can jot it in my phone, grab their email address and send it off and say, "Thank you so much. This really meant a lot to me. Here's what you said. Would you mind posting this review on Amazon or Goodreads or wherever you leave book reviews?"
Yep. See, learning from Deborah by the minute. Here, I'll throw one back at you. I will tell you that for pretty much every book I write, I create a document that has a link to the book, examples of how to write a review, uh, and basically just goes through the process and takes out that fear of I've never done it before.
Yes.
So again, this is the salesman in me, but it's if you ask people that you're meeting with, even at your launch party, who are probably related to you and very good friends, and you had a lie detector and said, "All right, one by one, I want you to come up here and tell me if you're going to write a review." Every single person in the room would pass that lie detector test. They're not lying.
Right.
Half of them will not write the review. They'll talk themselves out of it. So, what you've just described, or perhaps on my angle, just as simple as I can make it, uh,
Yes.
but don't take just that somebody's going, "Oh, I'll do it for you," as the gospel on this one. They struggle.
Yeah, they do. And they have the best intentions, but life, right? Yeah.
Right, right.
And the other thing is, practice giving reviews. I think one of the best ways to create good karma is, as an author, write reviews for other authors.
Mhm.
I
Wow.
mean,
Well, yeah. No, I do it, but I didn't think, and I do it I got the karma part. uh, But I think just particularly for somebody who hasn't written a lot of reviews, I think there you go. I think maybe let's get that. I'm just trying to get the fear of the unknown out of this equation.
yeah,
So anything that we can do here, because we certainly don't want to lose that inner tribe. And if
yeah,
we've got 50 people at that launch party, we should be having 50 reviews on Amazon,
Yep.
which also, curious how you feel about this. I am a guy who preaches at meetings, marketing meetings, you name it. If I'm invited to speak, this is coming out. We don't give books to our loved ones. Sounds nice on paper, but I now don't have a verified review.
Yes.
These are the ones I can get reviews from. I'll give them a book to give a friend. But remember, you give a book away, it's not a verified review.
Yeah, that's true. And, there's other places to leave reviews. Are you familiar with Library Thing?
Hmm. And the
Library Thing
state
is
of the
one of
thing?
my,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, I love Library Thing's early reader
Yeah.
program. And the beautiful thing about that, for those of you who aren't aware of it, is your publisher, or if you're the publisher yourself, has an account with Library Thing, and you can give up to, I think, 100 books away. They can be digital or they can be print. You can say whether it's in the US or global. You can design the parameters, and the people, so say you're going to give away 15 books. You describe it, you put, the genre, you put similar books, and you might get six, seven, 800 people who are throwing their name into the ring to get a free copy of your book. That's 800 and some odd people who are now aware of your book who weren't. And 15 of them are going to get it, and they're required to leave a review.
What a fabulous idea. You see, I've been a member of Library Thing. I poked around Library Thing. As I said, I'm always amused when I get folks. This is true now. You will
Uh,
get emails going. This it's now time for the state of the thing.
yes.
They call it the state of the thing, which I just always make me laugh. But I haven't dug in like you. That's why you're the author on this, and I find that to be. I think that's something I might look at this week. But
Yeah,
if I recall, signing up and being a member of Library Thing doesn't cost a thing.
it's free.
Yeah, pardon the
And it's
pun.
a huge database. It's been around for a long time,
Yeah,
and they're very active readers.
right. Well,
Yeah.
I want to tell you, we have never had a guest on twice, but I think we've got to go a little longer on this one. So we're going to wrap this one up, okay? And we're going to wrap it up with, remember, this is an author too. So I want the name of that book again. Go ahead. What's that book
It's
name?
Field Guide. It's Shelf Life, a field guide to long-term author success.
Okay. So if you've been listening to this conversation, there's no doubt you're going to go grab that book. Now, write a review for it. Good practice. We got Karma, hit Library Thing. And what I love about our conversation is, except for Rob's input, but everything that you've spoken about on this podcast is in your book.
Yes.
Lovely. Lovely. We need that book. As a guy who's in this space trying to help people market books, there really aren't a whole lot of books like this.
Well,
So
thank you.
good, really, really important. And I love your ideas. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, the easiest, I have two ways I'll say. One is there's a contact me on my website, which is Highlander Press Debbie, Debby, at highlanderpressbooks.com. And I have a Substack called Story Tell Her, where I write all about these topics all the time. And I'm currently spending a lot of time in my favorite made up Colorado town called Inkford, where everyone's a writer and everyone has challenges.
Inkford. Yes, it must be called Inkford.
It is. And they've got a bookstore called, a bakery called Proof and Prose.
There you go. That's
It's very kitschy, and I'm having so much fun writing it.
well, we might when we talk next time, because we're going to talk again. We might talk a little bit about Substack too,
Okay.
because as you mentioned, I'm a business nonfiction guy. I live on LinkedIn. But Substack is a curiosity among a lot of people. I'll
Yeah.
bet half the people listening have a Substack account and haven't done anything with it. And it is a little bit intimidating because there's so many potential moving parts. But I know selfishly, I'd love to hear more about Substack and how
Sure.
that fits in here. But it's been terrific talking to you, and I really appreciate the tips and ideas. And we got I put that book out a bunch of times only because we didn't talk. We talked in the book, Normally, I'm saying, what time do you write in the morning? What happens when an idea falls out of your head? We don't have to worry about that with you. But I just appreciate all your guidance. And I'm going to run to library thing and take another look at that thing.
Yeah,
I've got a bunch of notes here, but thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our chat.
You bet. Well, folks, we'll do it again as well as we can next time, although that'll be a challenge. Until then, stay safe.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's guest author, we'd love you to rate, review, and share this episode with others. If you'd like more information on today's guest or the Maryland Writers Association, please visit our website at marylandwriters.org. You can also hear a brief history of the Maryland Writers Association by listening to episode 0.